Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, seen Wednesdays on the Sports Collectors Daily Facebook page and the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, Pandora, and Spotify. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by the National Sports Collectors Convention and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, go to sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now your hosts, Tom Zappala and Boston sports personality, John Mallory.
JM, take two. How you doing, bro?
You're not meant to tell the whole
How's
audience
everything?
that I ruined
Wow,
the
what did I
show.
say? I said, John, take two. How are you?
Yeah, sure.
How are you, JM?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Good, good. Nia's recuperating, doing okay.
This is what we do, man.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're all good.
It's fine. I screwed up and forgot to hit
all right.
record,
No
everybody.
problem.
But we're back now.
Welcome to the Great American Collectible Show. Tom Zappala and John Mallory, Boston sports personality, who is persona non grata in the Boston sports world now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because they all hate you pretty much now.
Can't get hired. You're the only one that likes me.
Well, I mean, listen, you burned every bridge you had as a writer. Every bridge. Let's bring in Al Crisafulli right now from Love of the Game. Al Crisafulli, a.k.a. St. Nick. How are you?
Hey, what's happening,
Saint Nick.
gentlemen?
Al, you look great. You do look good. I like
I have been. People have said a lot of things about me, but you look great is not one of those.
You've had so many different looks over the last couple of years. I love them. I mean, seriously, you look good. You really
a man of a thousand faces.
I'm gonna be sending you my list soon.
Hey, listen.
When I started growing it, I didn't know it was going to come in all white like this. I thought, it was going to come in like I'm a young man, and
That doesn't work like that.
It never
shocked to see what happened.
It never goes that way, bro.
No,
it never
no.
goes that way.
Hey, listen. Before we get into Al's auction, and it's a blockbuster. I did get a text from Mr. Wonderful himself, Derek Grady. Many of you know that Derek's been had some real health issues over the last couple of months, and I guess a lot of people have reached out to him. So he sent me, Derek being Derek, sent me a text. I want to thank all of you who have reached out to me concerning my recent health issues. I will be back before you know it, aggravating Tom, Rico, and JM again. Thank you all for your kind words and well wishes. Hope to see you all soon. And he signs it, the GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. We love Derek. He's doing well.
I've known Derek for a really long time, and he's a really good dude, and I wish him the best.
Yeah,
sure.
no, he's going to be fine. He's had some serious health issues. We're not going to get into it, but he's bouncing back, and they're telling him he's going to be fine. So I think that's all we care about. So
Yes.
Now you have a blockbuster auction going on right now. 2,100 lots?
2,100 lots.
What the hell were you thinking? What the hell were you?
I'm asking myself that every day. It's always flattering when people come to you and they want to consign, and obviously you want to do the best that you can for every consigner, and this time it just turned out we have a lot of sets and things like that we broke into individual lots, and so that creates a lot of volume, and that's what we've got.
Correct.
This is like, I was going to say, this is like one of the deepest, maybe the deepest auction you've ever had. I mean, I'm going through it, and it's like, there's some stuff in here that I don't know where you get it. You know, but did you see this coming? Was this planned, or was it that you just got so much stuff and this is how it turned out?
I hadn't been on I like to take these long, meandering sort of consignment trips around the country, and I hadn't gone out west since the beginning of the pandemic. So in a lot of cases, I can't get there to visit with regular consigners. So when I finally got out there, I was out for 24 days, and I rented this giant SUV and I filled it 3 times. So I just kept shipping stuff back. And so I sort of knew, wow, this is going to be a great auction, and it really is a great auction. But I don't think I realized how big it was going to be in terms of lot count.
It's unbelievable.
Until you kind of get into the weeds of it, and then you realize, I want to break this up. We have this whole collection of companion pieces, which is a term that that I like to use to describe this. Like, for example, you're a card collector and you finish the set, right? What's next? What are you going to do next? Well, if you fall in love with that set, maybe you want to add some display pieces that are related to that. So you're collecting a caramel set or a tobacco set, and suddenly you want the packs and you want advertising and you want things like that. So we picked up a collection of companion pieces that are all related to pre-war card issues, from Old Judge to American Caramel, Mellow Mint, Bishops, and I mean, there's just a ton. There's these beautiful Boston Garter,
those are gorgeous, Al.
Yeah. Oh, the furniture.
Oh my God.
They're just fantastic.
Those cases are beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful countertop display pieces, and I want to present those properly, and the right way to do it is to present them individually.
Right.
And
good point.
So now you've got this collection, and it's all of these little glass bottles that had Crofts cocoa in them, and all that kind of stuff, and they're fascinating and they're cool, and So anyway, hence 2,100 lots, right? So.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding that 2,100 lots from the consumer standpoint, Al. Are there better deals when you have a tremendous amount of lots in an auction for the consumer, or not? I mean, I would think that with 2,100 lots, I mean, that's a lot of different items. Are there some, some really good deals?
I don't think any auctioneer will ever talk to you about deals in their auction. I think every auctioneer wants to position and say, hell, we get the highest prices on everything. I think the reality is that when you have more in the auction for sale, you're actually attracting more bidders to the auction, and that could benefit everything in the auction. I think there are some auctions out there that are thousands of lots. I don't think that I mean, you could make the argument, I guess, that it's overkill and there's just too much. I tend to think that becomes an issue when you have too much of the same thing. When you have 5 or 6 T206 Cobbs, you have 8, you have a Mickey Mantle rookie in every condition. That we stay away from that. We like to have one, and but if we get a large amount of items for the auction, I just think that brings in more bidders, the issue is, can you manage that many lots? Can you get everything done and do them justice? And some can and some can't.
Yeah, we are chatting with Al Crisafulli from Love of the Game Auctions. You've got a plethora of items here. Let's start with the 51 signed mantle. Tell us about that. That's a great card.
Beautiful card. Vintage signed cards have, as I hear you talk about it all the time, they've really taken off. I guess it was probably 6 or 7 years ago that we picked up a collection of autographed cards from the 50s that were, there was a collector who lived out in Pennsylvania who had done this for years and years and years. And when it came time to sell his collection, he went to us. And I think ever since then, we've had a great audience for signed vintage cards. We've been doing it for years. So when this one came in, I was kind of, jumping out of my skin to get this one in. We sold years ago a 51 Bowman Mantle with a PSA 10 signature on it, and it sold for $38,000, which was unheard of. Now, if you could pick one up for $38,000, I'll buy all of the.
Yeah, that's I mean, you're kidding?
Yeah. Right.
Al, is the I can't remember. Is the card itself graded, or is it just authentic?
No. Yeah, no, the card's not graded. The signature is graded. The card's beauty. It's a really nice card. But the signature is graded 9.
So let me ask you, just sticking to that point for a minute, is that up to the owner of that card as to whether or not they want to get it graded and authenticated? How does it work?
I think sometimes. In this case, we submitted the card. I'm online right now, and I'm looking at a scan of it, and I think when we took a look at the card, we didn't think that the grade of the card was, it was going to grade particularly noteworthy. So, but we knew the signature was good. So, we wanted a grade on the signature for sure. And I think the jury's still out on how the grade on a card impacts the sale price ultimately.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yep.
So,
Hey, Al, the guy we don't talk about a lot on the show, who is just a legend, and that word isn't even enough. You have a Jim Thorpe M116. Can you talk about that a little bit?
it's an M101-5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Zap gave me wrong info.
Yeah.
Wait, you talking about the Jim Thorpe?
Yeah.
That's a fantastic card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did make a mistake on that one, Jay. My apologies, because that's a great card.
Yeah, it's our lot number 1. It's a PSA 8.
I'm trying to act smart. I'm trying to act smart on the show.
No, I can't believe that.
Yeah, you're talking to me. I don't know.
That was a brain fart at my point. That was a brain fart. My apologies.
Now there's 2.
It's the highest grade example is an 8.5, and this is an 8, and it is just a beautiful card. Obviously Jim Thorpe was probably the greatest American athlete of the first part of the 20th century. And
absolutely.
He's a legendary figure, and his baseball stuff is really, really widely desirable, highly collectible. And so to get that card is we're thrilled to offer something. So it's such a pristine card. It's such a beautiful example. So it's going to be interesting to see where that lands. Bidding right now is at $27,500.
Jesus.
Wow,
that's a bargain for that card. And
yeah, it is.
I think that card will push 6 figures. And I'm usually not one of these guys that's like making predictions about where stuff is going to land, but boy, if that, under 6 figures on that card is a good deal.
Something, Al, well deserved, man. You've done a great job. We're happy for you. This is, this is a hell of an auction. When does this auction end, by the way?
It ends on the 28th of September, so we got a couple of weeks to go, and there's lots to look at,
man.
What we did this time that we'd never done before. I really pride myself on the auction catalog covers that we do, right? We like to make our catalog, I don't like collage covers. We do like one dominant image on the cover, and so it's always a question leading into the auction: what's going to be the cover? What's going to be the cover? I never really know until the last minute, and this time I was torn between the Paul Thompson photo of Babe Ruth, and the photo of Satchel Paige.
Oh wow!
And these are 2 beautiful type 1s that we have in the auction. And I couldn't decide which one to do. So what we did was we split the mailing list in half, and we did 2 different covers.
Very
so
nice.
some people are going to get Babe Ruth, and some people are going to get Satchel Paige.
Great.
Al, type 1 photos of guys like Ruth. I mean, the real vintage Hall of Famers. Type 1 photos are red hot right now, huh?
Yeah. It's I think people are starting to realize, first of all, they're beautiful. Especially if you can get an original type 1 that hasn't had the borders trimmed away, that has, that's all original, hasn't been cleaned up or anything. You're seeing the photo the way the photographer intended it to be presented. That's great. But then people are starting to realize how rare they are, how few of them survive. You start to talk about some of these, like the Babe Ruth photo. PSA has seen 3. This is not like a 33 Gaudy Ruth. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them floating around in every possible grade. We're talking about 3. So what is that worth? And then when you start to consider some of these photos that were used, they're iconic photos that were used on cards or illustrations or in books. They're just famous photos of players, and who wouldn't want to have that?
Good point.
Yeah. Hey, Al, I want to switch to basketball a little bit. You have a 61 Fleer complete set.
Yep.
And you also have a 57-58 Tops graded set.
Yeah.
Both of them are awesome. Can you just talk about those a little bit?
I'm thrilled to have a lot more basketball stuff, and I think some of that has to do with Tim Gallagher, our consignment director, who's a basketball guy. And so, he's been able to go out and do a great job of getting some of those basketball collectors on board. I think, the two sets, I mean, these are beautiful, beautiful sets. Baseball collectors should take a look at the 57 and 61 basketball sets because they're beautiful. They contain important rookie cards. They're loaded with Hall of Famers, and they're tough. The condition on those two sets, I mean, they're just notorious for poor quality control. So there's bad centering. There's, in addition to, the normal wear and tear of a card that old, there's problems with centering. There's problems with print snow and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
These are pretty clean sets. And I think the 57 set is number 27 on the registry. Every card is a 6 or better. But it's mostly just a straight 6 set, but nice. So,
I mean,
like
that set is the iconic basketball set.
Yeah.
Story about that set. I'm going back maybe 18 years ago.
I love these stories.
Oh, I got another jackass, TZ move.
Zap. That should be our next book. Is like Zap screw ups. I mean, I know you eventually made up for it and then some.
Well, Ellen and I, we went to an auction up in godforsaken New Hampshire somewhere, way up, like 3 hours north of us, because I had my eyes on a T206 Cobb bat on the shoulder. Great card. It was like a PSA 4 or 5 or something at the time. So I went up there to bid on the card, and I got my ass kicked on the card. I lost the card. This guy just wanted the card.
Right.
So we're walking now. You have to understand, there were probably 50 people in the auction. Now, we stayed till the end of the auction, and there's maybe 5. So I said, come on, let's get the hell out of here, El. So we walk out the door. We're walking out, and one of the very last lots is a complete 57 Topps basketball set, ungraded. I said, oh, man, look at this. I paid $450 for it, for the whole set. Turned around and sold it a year later for $1,500.
That's a great story.
What the hell was I thinking?
I had a conversation with a guy one time.
Oh my God!
Who, he used to go to, oh gosh, I forget what store it was. It was like a stationery store in Jersey. That it was like a Woolworths kind of place, and I can't remember the name of the store, but he used to go in there and they had 86 Fleer basketball wax boxes.
Oh God!
And they had they had like an overstock of them, and he would buy them for $5 a box.
Oh God!
Okay, this was long after 86, so there's like cards nobody cared about, and he said they didn't know. And he was telling me the story. He would go and he would buy these boxes for $5 a box, rip them open, and sell the Jordans to his local card shop for 10. And think he was getting such a great deal. He was just buying these boxes for 5 and selling them for 10. And now if he had those Jordans or those boxes.
Wow.
You know how many stories like that there are? There are tons. Before we take a break, Al, you have the 52 mantle. Tell us about that card. Still a great card.
It's a beautiful card. It's a 1, but it's a perfectly centered card that's got some damage up at the top that makes the grade accurate. But if you're in the market for a really nice 52 mantle, that's affordable to the degree that you can use the word affordable and 52 mantle in the same sentence. This is as nice a 1 as you'll find. It's a really, really nice looking card.
All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it is the highlight, I repeat, the highlight of this show called Another Blast, Gax Blast from the Past.
I thought our guest was the highlight.
Oh, no, this was created by me. I was
going to say, man, I grew this beard for you.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Hang in there, and we will be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and it is that time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for a Gax Blast from the Past.
It's my favorite part of the week.
See, you should be.
I'm not being such. Why would you think I'm being
Oh,
sarcastic?
not you. Brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and PB Collectables, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectables.com to find that special card or a piece of memorabilia. I did a lot of research on this particular
There's
piece.
lie number one.
A lot of research. And I've always asked myself, who really is the greatest athlete of all time? And you know something? Here is my thought. Here is my thought.
Gallant, yes, Mike Gallant going for the lead with Price and Prince on the outside. Secretariat away very well, has good position on the rail, and in fact is now going up with the leaders. They're moving for the first turn. It is Secretariat. Sham on the outside is also moving along strongly, and now it's Sham. Sham and Secretariat are right together into the first turn. Mike Gallant has third behind them. Then it's Twice a Prince, and the trailer is Private Smiles as they go by the turn. Those two together, Sham on the outside. Sham getting ahead in front as they move around the turn with Secretariat second. Then there's a large gap. Make it 8 lengths back to Mike Gallant in third and Twice a Prince fourth. And Private Smiles is still the trailer. They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on Mike Gallant, who is third by ahead, with Twice a Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about a length and a half. Still Sham, 10 lengths back. My Gallant, Twice a Prince. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn, it's Secretariat. It looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. Make it 3 and a half. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Sham is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and Twice a Prince. They're on the turn. Its Secretariat is blazing along the first 3/4 of a mile in 109 and 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Twice a Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 16th of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that seems impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Twice a Prince has taken second, and Mike Gallant has moved back to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front. It's going to be Twice a Prince.
25 lengths he won by. And keep this in mind. That horse, Sham, that came in second was a great horse.
Yeah.
That was a great horse.
How much money did you lose on that race?
Oh, no. You know how I remember what I tell you what, I was about, I would say I was probably 20 years old, 21, 22 years old. And I remember watching that. My father was a degenerate gambler. And I remember watching that race with him. And he bet Sham to place. So he won some money. But it was just an amazing. He won by 22 lengths. Think about
It's
that.
probably. I mean, I know you joke with greatest athlete, but it's one of the great performances of all time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Al,
Crazy.
tell
Are
us
there
about,
any Secretariat cards?
Good question.
Probably.
I'm sure there's collectibles, but yeah. But I don't know.
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me if there were.
There was. I know REA Auctions. Our good friends had some Secretariat tail hair that they got big money for.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Dead serious.
Wow.
Yeah, we have jumped the shark.
Hey, Al, tell us about this Mort Rogers scorecard. That
boy.
intrigued me. Tell me about that.
Super rare, and a lot of people say that the Mort Rogers scorecards were really early baseball cards because they were produced. Mort Rogers wanted to produce essentially. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. They're scorecards, but they've got a player's picture on the front.
Okay.
Hand produced, and they're all numbered, right? So they were issued in series, with different players, and they sell advertising. So they were a very early baseball card, and in a sense, and they were meant to be collected. And so there's Mort Rogers wanted to produce one of every professional player. He never got anywhere close, and they're super, super rare today. So the one that we have is one of the nicest, if not the nicest ones I've ever seen. It's unscored. It's just a beautiful, beautiful card or scorecard. But a lot of times when you see these, you only see, they're folding scorecards, right? They fold in half. And when you unfold it, the scorebook is on the inside, right? On the outside, there's a picture of the player, and there's advertising on the back, right? A lot of times what people would do is just cut those in half and save the front page, which is the card.
Oh, wow.
Okay? They even call them cards. I'm jumping online real quick, and I want to read you what it. So the headline on the card, on the banner above, it says Mort Rogers Baseball Photographic Card. Okay, so he even called them cards. And they're really super, super rare today. They sell for $10, $15, $20,000. This one is of Charlie Sweezy, who was an infielder, and it's just a really, really cool piece.
Nice.
Hey, Al, stuff like that, tickets, scorecards. You have a couple of you have a scorecard from a Phillips Andover versus Yale game, Zap, which is Andover right around the corner, and you have one from Haverhill versus Boston, which is an ad. That type of stuff, is that growing in popularity?
I think so. I think people are starting to realize that there's a couple of things that are happening. First of all, we can talk about whether the hobby's up or whether it's down or whatever, but in general, interest in the hobby is at an all-time high right now, and so people are starting to look at, well, what else can I collect, right? And while they're doing this, the prices of the cards are astronomical. So if you want to collect 19th century stuff, what do you collect? If you want to collect early 20th century stuff, and then people start to look at, well, what's really rare? What are the things that are really hard to find? And if you start to think about some of these scorecards and programs, things that were handed out at the park, tickets, this is stuff that was produced in a very small quantity, and most of them were thrown away. They were not designed to be collected. So naturally, collecting them now is it's a challenge.
Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was just going to say, the other thing about those things is that they were, and we've talked about this a lot, Zap, with the game worn. Those things were like sort of part of the event, right? It was like that was there. You know what I mean? It's not like a card that was created, whatever. That was there. Yeah.
It's a big part of why people like tickets and programs, and particularly for milestone games. Somebody's 3,000th hit, somebody's 500th home run. An important. There's a big market for even weird things that happen at a game, like the first high five, or one of the most collectible tickets, more modern tickets, is the pizza game when the fan threw at Fenway.
At Fenway Park. That's a great.
And that's that people look for that ticket. Somebody just showed me the other day. They had a ticket of the day that Don Mattingly went to catch a fly ball that was like a foul ball, and he reached into the kid's popcorn. Somebody has a
That's good stuff, though. Again, by the way, just so that you guys understand how creative I really am, we did at one of our gag splash from the past was the pizza video with Jerry Remy, right?
I remember.
Hysterical. We are chatting with Al Crisafulli from Love of the Game Auctions. JM, why don't you tell our audience about our friend, who, by the way, he's been under the weather a little bit, but he's doing well, Lee Behrens and the folks at Sterling Auctions.
Well, our friend Lee Behrens, Zap, has another blockbuster auction going from Sterling Auctions right now, as a matter of fact. This auction ends tomorrow night, so get your bids in now. Check this out. A host of 1956 Topps cards graded PSA 6 and 7. How about a signed Babe Ruth letter? Some great 64 Topps cards graded as PSA 8s, including Rose, Koufax, and Mays. A 1934 Gowdy, Lou Gehrig, and 1958 Topps Mantle. You're also going to find a slew of T206s, Gowdies, Diamond Stars, and exhibits all graded, including a T206 Cobb bat on shoulder and also a Nap Lajoie M116.
I had money that you were going to say Nap Lajoie. I had money bet on that.
Who do you think you're dealing with here?
I'm impressed.
Well, seriously.
I'm impressed.
Come on, man. A 1957 Topps Complete Football Break is also featured. This is an auction. I almost got Nap wrong. This is an auction for everyone, whether you are a budget-minded buyer or looking for high-end cards. Sterling Sports Auctions is the place to go. Remember, bidding ends tomorrow. So get online. Get your bids in now by going to sterlingsportsauctions.com. That's www.sterlingsportsauctions.com.
You know, it's funny because typically, I know you know Lee, he comes on once in a while on camera with us. But he evidently he had some dental surgery or something. So he texted me and he says, Tom, do me a favor. He says, can you write a read for me? He says, because if your audience sees what I look like, you're going to lose a lot of viewers.
I feel the same way all the time about me. So, you know.
Hey, Al, you know, earlier you mentioned PSA, and I want to throw this out at you. With the Fanatics juggernaut, you know, coming to fruition across the hobby,
Everywhere.
is CGC picking up ground on PSA, in your opinion?
No.
Really?
I mean, you know, not in my universe. You know, I mean, look, PSA is a monstrous company that's been out there for a really long time, and they're well positioned in the market. You know, the registry was a stroke of genius, sure. and you know, it's an important collecting tool. You know, I've had lots of conversations with the folks at CGC. You know, I just, on the vintage side, that's really all we do. I don't see them. You know, I think we have a couple of CGC cards in this auction. You know, this is not meant to be you know, a slam on them at all.
No, and I'm not
stretch the imagination, right? But I feel like you know, they're a legit grading company, and I would trust their grades and trust their ability to determine whether a card is authentic or altered or any of this. But you know, I don't see them in the market with the kind of material that we sell. It's all PSA SGC.
You know what's interesting too is that you know, PSA has quite a bit of money behind them with you know, Mr. Turner and Miss Cohen. You know, I mean, they have some money behind them. So I don't see Fanatics ever buying out PSA. You know what I mean? Right. I just don't see that. So I don't know if it's frustrating for them, but I know they want to get into that market. I'm not sure how successful they're going to be.
I think it would be a huge drag. I mean, you know, it's, you know, this consolidation in the hobby is, from a business standpoint, it's interesting to watch, but it's also a little scary to me. Yeah. You know, I like the idea of competition. I like the idea of what competition forces us all to do. You know, it makes us all better to know that, you know, we're competing with so-and-so who's got this great idea or who's doing this great thing. When everything's owned by one giant entity, you know, where's the incentive to produce something that's better for the consumer and for the collector? And ultimately, that's what this hobby is all about, right? It is collectors. So, you know, that's, you know, I don't like to see these giant monoliths, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to, when Brian comes on, Brian Dwyer from REA will be joining us, as we mentioned a little later on in the show. I'm going to ask Brian the same question because, you know, I have mixed feelings about what's happening, and we've talked about this ad nauseum actually in the hobby. But I have some real issues. Another one that I want to run by both of you guys is I'm seeing and I'm reading about, you know, a lot of major league ball players. The light has gone on with the money behind their picture.
They need money, those guys.
Yeah, really. But the money behind their picture on a card. And I'm reading that a lot of them now are exchanging cards, signed cards, as you want to call them manufactured rarities, where I'm using this as an example, where a Rafi Devers will go to a Soto and say, here, give me here's my card. I'm going to sign it for you. It's a special card, 1 of 3, 1 of 1. Soto does the same thing, and then they hold on to it.
Yeah.
Is there something unethical about that, or is it legit?
I don't know. I mean, they used to do that with their bats and their hats and their jerseys and all this, and I think in a way it's a thing that sort of brings players closer together and stuff. But that's not really my world.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know that I necessarily have an opinion about what's that doing to the hobby, and is that stuff worth saving?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing illegal about it. I mean,
No, I know that.
No, but I mean, it kind of smacks of like insider trading.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like a gray area.
But I think, and a lot of these guys, and this, Zap, and the work you've done with the books and everything, like, a lot of people in entertainment and sports. I remember, I interviewed Tom Candiotti. Tom had, one of the great like some of these athletes have some of the best collections of anything. Like, they're into it, and they do have inside information. They have inside connections to the players.
Exactly.
So I mean,
I would imagine that if you were a player and you were watching other players developing, you might say, hey, I think that you have a little bit more of a window into who's going to be great and who's not going to work out.
Right.
I mean, what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know if auction houses get a lot of things from these guys. If they turn around and then put them up for auction. I mean, it is what I guess it's an investment, and they have access. So
sure.
All right, we are chatting with Al Crisafulli. Brian's going to be with us shortly. CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show, being held on October 18th to the 20th, held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport. Celebrating 28 years at the same location, there will be over 450 dealer tables exhibiting on over. That's a typo. 125,000 square feet of space. With both vintage sports cards and memorabilia, as well as modern-day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars will be on hand, including Brett Favre. That's how they said it on that Mary show. Jerome Bettis, Pete Rose, Oscar Robinson, Kyle Malone, Alan Trammell, Pete Rose, and many, many more. Over 40 guests in total. For more information, go to thechantillyshow.com, where you can find all of your sports collecting treasures. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. Brian Dwyer from REA Auctions is going to join Al and myself and JM. Hang in there, and we shall return.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you are a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport. Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Hey, I'm Mike Petroselli. If your company is looking for the best in marketing and promotional items, you'll hit a home run with Petroselli Marketing. With over 8,000 suppliers and 650,000 imprint-ready items, we can get your company the visibility it needs to get your maximum exposure. Whether it be office promotions, wearables, automotive, sports items, and everything in between, Petroselli Marketing can do it all. Our design staff will even work with you from concept to delivery and customize your products. At Petroselli Marketing Group, we will get your brand in front of your audience. Contact us at info@petrosellimkt.com or call us at 603-880-3202. That's Petroselli Marketing, where no dream is impossible.
So how does your company or organization do promotions? Imprinted product keeps your brand in front of your customers more than any other form of advertising. For the best on-time service and new ideas for your next project, give Petroselli Marketing Group a call at 800-264-4294 or email info@petrosellimkt.com.
JM, real quickly, if you go to their catalog, there's some really nice Christmas presents to me that you may want to take a look at. Just there's some nice jackets and just things like that.
I was thinking more like a pen or one of those squeezy balls, just something like that.
We had how many of those? We gave out hundreds of those at the convention. All right, listen, our other buddy here, Brian Dwyer from REA Auctions, is with us. Hi, Brian.
How are you?
Good. Now, you have another auction going on. And again, Al, for our viewers and listeners, Al and Brian are friendly competitors. It is what it is, and everybody kind of works with each other. You have an auction going, Brian. First of all, when does it end? When does it start? It's already started. When does it end?
Yeah, it's already underway. It ends this Sunday, the 22nd. Almost 3,600 items, so
Wow.
lots to choose from.
You got, did I see a Sherry McGee T206 Erica there?
We do. We have a PSA authentic in this auction. Hundreds of T206s. If you like rare backs, if you like high grade, we've got authentics through sevens. We've got every back you can think of. So if you're a T206 collector, this one's got some stuff for you.
You know, Brian, before you came on, we were talking about PSA and CGC. You know, I had asked Al, with the Fanatics gold mine behind a lot of what's going on in the hobby, do you see CGC picking up a head of steam on PSA, or is it going to be, you know, it is what it is?
I think for a lot of collectors, it is what it is. I mean, CGC is making big waves in the TCG area and gaming cards and Pokemon. But I think that there's a very significant uphill climb to tackle PSA in sports, baseball specifically. So I think that there's room for everybody, but I don't see them knocking PSA off their pedestal anytime soon.
Brian, you have a lot of T206 cards in this auction, and I know that Al, you know, you always have some T206 stuff, and I know Zap, you're one of the foremost experts on that those cards. I want to throw it out to all three of you. Short answers, whatever you want to give. What's the lasting allure of the T206 cards? It just seems that they're always front and center with collectors.
Al, you can go first.
I think it's a combination of things. First of all, the cards themselves are plentiful, so
Yeah.
it's easy to get in. You know, but there are so many different ways that you can collect them.
Right.
You know, you can collect teams, you can collect backs, you can go after the, you know, just the set, you can collect just the portraits, you can, you know, the horizontals, the Southern Leaguers. There's so many different subsets, so many different ways to go at it that you can actually build a set affordably, right? And you know, challenge yourself with the higher dollar stuff later, you know. So there's all kinds of different paths to entry and then ways you can go from there.
Bri?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. It's hard to ignore the fact that it's got the T206 Wagner in it, which is what a lot of people are exposed to for the first time, as kind of that Mount Rushmore of cards and collecting. I think the artwork on T206s is really impressive. You know, if you think about what was produced in that day, there's a lot of cards that are just stunning. And then to Al's point, I mean, the supply is out there. I think there's more T206s in this world than anybody cares to admit. And there's a lot of ways to tackle it. You could be a T206 collector for life, and you could never collect it the same way twice. So I think it's just a great set, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
I agree with both of you 100%. I think Al, the subsets really has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, because I know a lot of people that collect them, and they collect them for different reasons, like you're saying. The thing
Sure.
that I found really a lot of fun, you know, we talk about the Sherry McGee error card. There's a couple of other ones, you know, the Elberfeld. But when we were researching the book and we were really paying attention to what we were looking at, you would not believe how many error cards there are in that collection.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff that stuck out like a sore thumb that people never picked up on. Like, I can't remember who the player was. He had a left-handed glove on his right hand. I remember that's one. You know,
Yeah.
just little things like that I found it intriguing. The other thing I think, obviously, is the artwork. I agree with you, Brian. The artwork is really, really, really cool. I want to ask you guys. You guys both have tickets in your auctions, and I want to ask you guys both this. You can't buy tickets anymore. There are no such thing as physical tickets. You go to a ball game, it's all on your phone. That's how you buy your tickets. Is that going to help the value of tickets that exist today, paper tickets, Al?
I don't know if it'll help the value of them. I think, you know, I mean, certainly doesn't make them any more rare. I think it sucks. I think, you know,
I
like,
do too.
Yeah, I mean, how many people do you know? I mean, we're old, right? How many people do you know who save the stub from every concert, from every game,
Absolutely.
everything you ever went to? It's memories that you have in your hand. What happens when it's, you know, it's in your email? It's on your phone. Like I have to
I could
log into my Ticketmaster account to show you all the shows I've been to. That's crazy.
Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, from a collector's perspective, I like having the tickets to the events, the physical events, kind of. With Al, it stinks that you have links and emails now. As far as what it'll do to the market for these vintage tickets or these physical tickets, I don't know that it'll change much. If you want a ticket to the 1903 World Series, they don't exist in digital form, so you've got to go after the physical one. And I think that that's true for all these events. It might change the number of people that start collecting tickets long term because they don't have the exposure. It's like people collecting stamps. You don't see stamp collecting catching fire because nobody's mailing letters. So maybe long term it'll change that market, and maybe new collectors won't flock to it because they won't have the exposure. But for right now, I think tickets is actually a pretty fun and exciting and growing from what we're seeing part of the hobby.
I was so aggravated about my ticket. I think I told you this story, Brian. Brian, you know the ticket I'm talking about.
Fenway?
Yeah. Al, I have a ticket.
You were at the first day of Fenway Park, weren't you?
I have the ticket for opening day, and the game was rained out. So it's dated November 19th, 1912. The game was rained out, and the actual opening was on the 20th. PSA will not authenticate the ticket.
Why?
Because they have a policy that they do not authenticate, they won't grade rain-delayed tickets, postponed tickets. They just won't do it. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, it's like, so we've sent it off to Beckett and see what they can do with it.
Yeah.
You know what, Tom? Not to derail us here, but I just looked down my desk and totally coincidentally, I have the ticket to the first game that they played.
Look at that.
Brian's got everything. Everything in the hobby.
You are killing me.
just total coincidence.
Look at that.
Let's talk about, I don't know. Let's talk about some other crazy thing. And Brian
Twist it a little, Brian. Really.
Not planned at all.
Brian, so what are some of the other highlights? We got a few minutes. What are some of the other highlights? And then we're going to talk to Al again. Highlights of your auction?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, over 3,500 items, led off by a beautiful SGC8 Jackie Robinson from 1952 Topps. We've got more than 130 years of cards. We've got 1886 Lorellards and 1887 Old Judges, all the way up to modern day. We've got C.J. Stroud parallels. We've got Trouts. We've got Gunnar Hendersons. There's truly something for everyone.
Wow.
Tons of T206s, some great autographs and memorabilia, beautiful original photograph used for the Sinella card of Babe Ruth. Signed Ruth photo. So a lot of variety. We're happy about this. And then we're gearing up for our big fall catalog as well.
Al, you got a plethora also.
A plethora. I do.
Your 51 Bowman signed mantle that's going to be a killer.
That's a beauty. I think I'm proud. I think I'm most proud of the 19th century collection. But we were talking about T206s earlier. One of the things that I have that I think is really, really cool. This guy, maybe, I don't know, 9 months ago, he came into our office. He was a picker. He's an antiquer from Pennsylvania. And he drove up to Kingston with a buddy of his. And his buddy brought with him 2 cardboard mats that had T206s stuck to them. There were about 110 T206s on these 2. It was like a photographic mat, so somebody had clearly framed these things. And so the guy says, you think these are worth anything? And I take a look and I realize that there's a whole bunch of like printer scraps, hand cut. So we sent them off to a conservator and we had them removed. There were 20 different kinds of scraps, missing colors, double strikes on the back, double strikes on the front, just crazy dual name, it was all hand cuts. I mean, I've never seen that many.
See, that's the fun stuff, though. That's the fun stuff.
Yeah. Right. So they're all in the auction, and it's probably my, maybe my favorite thing in the auction.
That's the fun stuff I love too.
Yeah.
When I go before you read the Philly show read, John, the thing that I love when I go on your sites, both of you guys, I really enjoy looking and kind of keeping an eye on that eclectic, off-the-wall memorabilia. And you guys both specialize in that.
Absolutely.
It's really cool stuff. Really cool
It is.
stuff. Jam, tell us about the Philly show.
I will, my friend. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show, the Philly Show, from Friday, September 22nd to Sunday, September 24th, held at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, PA. Shop over 300 of your favorite hobby dealer booths on over 100,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids under 12 get in free. Autographed guests to include Pete, the Hit King Rose, Baseball Hall of Famers, Jim Thome, Pedro Martinez, 2023 inductee Scott Rowland, basketball legends Dr. J, Julius Erving, and Allen Iverson, and many more. For more information, go to phillyshow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started.
All right, I'm going to leave Chrissy and Brian and Al and John with this musical wake-up call that I had. Because I know you guys all like music. So I was in my physical therapist office
This can't end well.
last Thursday. It's a beautiful facility, and they're all 30-somethings. They're all 30-somethings, the physical therapist. So we're talking, and she says, well, who are your favorite musicians? I says, my three favorite of all time, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, the Allman Brothers, and Santana.
Okay.
Do you know what they said to me?
Who?
Could you mention a song by them? They had no idea who those three bands were. 30-somethings. I said, it was a wake-up call for me that I am, in fact, getting old.
I don't.
He says getting. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I got news
I don't know
for you.
that it's that.
I got news for you, kid. You're there. You're
Yeah.
there.
All righty, folks.
All right, we love you guys. Brian, thanks for joining us. Al, thanks for joining us.
Be good, everybody.
Viewers and listeners, get into those
Thanks,
auctions.
guys.
JM, have a great one. And to our viewers and listeners,